Okay, welcome back to the Swansea View. We are going to talk all things Jerry Yates being dropped. We're going to talk about Fulton and Grimes. We're going to talk about potentially who is going to be the next manager of Swansea City. Anthony Barry's name's been mentioned. Who, I heard you say? Well, James will explain all. And we're going to get the view of who on earth is going to want to be watching this team that's fan base is turning toxic and what can be done about it. We're going to do all that with James. Good evening, James. How are you?
Hi, Mark. I'm good. Thanks, you.
Yeah, James, you've travelled the country for many years watching this side. I've got to start off by asking you: is this the most um, divided and toxic the fan base has been for a while?
I'd say probably for my period watching. I know I was lucky enough to watch us just as we were coming out of that period where we were almost, out of existence and sort of rose from League Two to the Premier League. And in recent years, I think this is probably as divided as it's got. I wouldn't really say so much toxic anymore. Do you know what? That's almost a bad thing because now apathy is setting in. Since
Right.
2016, our owners have overseen almost a very steady downturn with what's going on at the club. And we seem to just be constantly getting into this cycle of we commit to a project for 2 years, then we replace the manager or they walk away. And then this season, it's a mess, honestly.
Um, we'll chat in a minute about the Christmas fixtures and you can preview them and we'll also talk managers. Let's have a quick chat then about the Middlesbrough game. First of all, some changes made. So they brought in Bashir Humphreys and Liam Walsh, and then Patino and Yates. Surprising for neutrals, anyway, was dropped to the bench before the game started. Were you in agreement with those changes?
I could see why he brought Bashir Humphreys back in. He started with three centre backs. We started with Cabango, Humphreys, and Darlin. So I thought, you know what, he's going for a little bit of defensive stability there. I really like Charlie Patino, but unfortunately, I just don't think he puts himself about enough. He's very smooth to watch. He's very good on the ball, very creative, but I just don't think you're going to get a shift out of him. He doesn't tend to do a lot of running and doesn't do the sort of the side that Fulton and Grimes will do. So it wasn't really much of a surprise for me. Yates, on the other hand, I thought was a strange one because for most of the game, we were lacking up top. I know Jamal Lowe popped up with a goal in the end, but yeah, we seem to be lacking at the top end of the pitch in that game.
Um, yeah, it is puzzling, and just on Cabango, I mean, for the first goal, was he caught ball watching ball watching there? It just seems such a straightforward ball to deal with.
It was, yeah, it's a typical Swansea goal. It's more often than not when we can see the goal, it's a case of we're our own worst enemies, and it's always these little individual errors that seem to be costing us at the moment. And Cabango is having a really tough season at the moment. He's been decent for the last few seasons, but this year he's looking a shadow of himself. I'm not really sure what's going on there.
Okay. Um, One other thing I want to put to you is about Grimes. Great footballer. Is he a good captain?
For me, I'd say yes. Yes, I think whenever any managers have been here, they've always spoken so highly about what he does off the pitch. A lot of our fans tend to get on Grimes's back because he's not screaming and shouting in the face of the referee or sort of playing to the gallery. But Steve Cooper, Graham Potter, Russell Martin, they've all said that all the stuff that Matt does behind the scenes, he's an exemplary leader. So for me, no, I think he is a really good captain. I think it's the unseen stuff that people that don't see. They just when they see captains, they go, "Oh, he needs to be getting in the referee's face, needs to be doing this, doing that," and he's never been that way. And now all of a sudden, when things that perhaps aren't going so well, people are starting to question him. But no, I think he is a good captain.
Okay. Did him and Fulton slow the game down a bit though? Because what I've watched of Swansea, and again, it seemed to be the case against Middlesbrough that they control the ball. They very often don't give it away, but it's very often between themselves, isn't it? And it's almost walking football at times. Do you think a little bit more pace is needed in those positions?
Yeah, 100%. I think they are very similar players. I think Grimes is perhaps the more technical of the two. But if you drop one of them, the only other midfielders we've got at the moment is Patino and Walsh. Walsh did okay yesterday, I thought, to be honest. We haven't really seen a lot of him because of his injuries. But again, like you said, it is very pedestrian and slow in there. I'd have thought maybe instead of Walsh starting, I know Ollie Cooper's not had a great season, but he offers a little bit more pace. So yeah, we were definitely lacking that yesterday. The football is painfully slow on times with us at the moment.
It's not a good watch, is it? All right, let's look at your Christmas fixtures in a second. Before we do that, then let's have a chat with managers. And we don't want to keep, every week going on about it. But what's the latest that you've heard? Muscat is out the running, and Daniel Levy is being Daniel Levy and saying, "Sorry, you're not having Davis from Spurs." Is that right?
Uh, the, yeah, that's it. We've seen Kevin Muscat's taken a job at Shanghai Port today, so he's out of the equation. Um, Chris Davis is even more frustrating when you realise in the summer he was interviewed for the job. Apparently, he wanted the job, and we decided to move for Michael Duff instead. Could have had him for nothing. Instead, we paid compensation for Michael Duff. We've now had to pay to sack him, and now Daniel Levy is holding on to what he's got. And we all know we've all had Sir Alex Ferguson's views on Daniel Levy. Said he's a genius when it comes to negotiating, and he's to dread going into negotiations with him. So if one of the world's greatest managers couldn't deal with him, I doubt our chairman, who's a hotel owner, and Paul Watson are going to get round him.
Okay. Who do you want?
It's a tough one for me at the moment because all the names that we're being linked with, you've got like Sean Maloney, Eric Ramsey. The ideal one for me would be Tony Mowbray, but I just can't see him wanting to come here. I just don't think we're an attractive prospect for him. And I think he lives in the north. So I don't know whether he'd be willing to relocate down here, but he'd be my ideal one. Experience, plays good football, and someone that can unite the fans, because I think that's the thing we need. Michael Duff was such an abrasive character and divided the fan base more than any manager that I can think of recently. We just need someone that everyone can get behind, because that's such a big thing at the moment is our attendance is a plummeting. And I think apathy is setting in. It's
Yeah.
weird. If you say toxicity or unrest amongst the fans, it still shows people care. But our attendances are dwindling, and when apathy sets in, it's hard to get the fans back on board.
Yeah. One thing surprised me was that obviously the chairman was talking about the next manager's got to, know the club, and he's moved the family there, and we want to get the ethos. And then today, reading reports linking you to a German coach, this Anthony Barry, who's the assistant under Tuchel at Bayern Munich, who might be interested. I mean, yes, it's copying the Sheffield Wednesday approach of, and look at what they've got, fantastic German coach that's probably going to save them this season. You can't have everything, can you? You can't go for exciting European managers who've got a lot of potential and also still have someone who understands the club. Which is more important?
It's a difficult one with us because we're such a stylistic club. You've got clubs that want to win at all costs, and you've got ones that stick to a very set way of playing. And I think style down here is absolutely massive. I mean, we've seen it with Michael Duff. People did not like that at all. So I think for the club here, it is style. And I think that's where I gravitate towards someone like Tony Mowbray. He's kind of got both. He knows how to win at all costs, but he also has a style of football that is quite easy on the eye.
Okay. All right, let's look at your Christmas fixtures then. Okay, 12 points available. Preston this weekend, who are really out of sorts. That becomes a must win, I'd imagine. And then tough trips to Southampton and inform Coventry before you play West Brom at home. This is not an easy Christmas fixture list for the Swans, is it? What are you going
No.
with? 4, 5?
I'd probably say, I think 4. Yeah, I think 4. I think a win at Preston, and I think we might get something at home against West Brom. The less said about Southampton, probably the better. It's going to be like going to see Dad after the divorce, that one is. So that's going to be fun. Has the potential to ruin Christmas.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Russell Martin derby. I mean, you'll be kind to him, won't you, from the terraces?
I think some of our fans will, some not so much. Again, you talk of divisive characters. There's almost like a 50-50 split with our fan base. He's Marmite, you either loved him or you hated him. So he'll probably get a bit of a mixed reception, I'd imagine.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, enjoy the games. Come back on with you in a couple of weeks, and we'll review whatever managerial appointments that you've made. And yeah, good luck for the Christmas fixtures. Cheers, James.
Cheers, Mark. All the best.